final guest of today is Cate Bennett, who's the principal OT in
Hi.
in Nottinghamshire. Hi, Cate.
Hello. It's a great introduction.
And I understand you haven't got any slides. You're just going to be talking.
No, I'm just going to talk, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
I'm just going to try and get you on the big screen. There we go. So I wanted to talk to you today about the DFG service improvement journey we've been on in Nottinghamshire County Council. So my name is Cate Bennett. I'm Principal Occupational Therapist there. So in Nottinghamshire, we are a two-tier organisation and we have 7 district councils. So of course, that means 7 different ways of doing things. So in 2018, we commissioned a consultant to look at how we could deliver a service improvement for DFG. And the consultant identified 4 main components that we could work on. One was to have a county-wide adaptation policy that all of the districts would follow for their discretionary grants. Another was a memorandum of understanding, so that the occupational therapists in the district councils had a clear understanding of each other's roles and responsibilities. We wanted to also look at timescale reporting, so we wanted to know the timescale from inquiry to assessment, and from recommendation from the OT to the district council, and the end of the design point, you know, the grant approval point, and then the final delivery stage where the grant was approved and the building contractors were on site. We also, the consultant advised us to look at single provider frameworks, to look at maybe commissioning one company that would provide stair lifts so that we could recycle them, for an example. So what was our methods and our approach? Well, myself and the Strategic Commissioner happened to go on a course together, an East Midlands Leadership Academy course, and there we developed a 100-day plan. So the intention was that we would deliver our project within a 3-month timescale. Well, guess what? There was a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic that got in the way. Nevertheless, we did work together collaboratively, and because we'd written our project down, we were able to pick it up and continue with it despite people being redeployed during the pandemic. So we worked collaboratively, and our project was cross-cutting between children and adults, and it involved our corporate project team. So our aims and objectives of the project were, as I say, to gather the timescale information from the OT, from the inquiry to the OT recommendation of need. That was the bit at the front end that we had control over. We wanted to support people we wanted to signpost them to the DFG means test early on in the journey. So we secured some funding to develop a calculator. Unbeknown to us, foundations were working on a similar project. So we worked in collaboration with Paul and his team, and we ended up dropping our project and focusing our attention on other aspects of the project. And Paul, I'm led to believe that your calculator will be live in the new year. I think that's right.
Yes.
And the other final objective that we had was to promote the need for consistency across our district partners, you know, so that we didn't have this postcode lottery for the people of Nottinghamshire. So what activities did we do? Well, we had a really successful virtual empathy mapping event. So this was where we invited people who'd had DFGs to sit round the table with our occupational therapists, our community care officers, which is the assistant OT role in Nottinghamshire, and our district council partners. So all stakeholders round the table together. Now that meant that we could get some principles for our service improvement based on the feedback from people who'd had this lived experience, that even now, further on in the project, we can use to sense check the work we're doing and to look back and you know, check that we're doing the right thing. So it's a really, really useful thing to do, that co-production. We funded the ICT, the DFG calculator, as I say, and we've ended up dropping that piece of work. But now we are focusing on our ICT interoperability app. So this piece of work is really very exciting. we wanted to be able to work in collaboration with the districts, with having a customer-facing portal, something that the district councils could look at and something that the OT could look at, with nobody having to key in any additional information. And we looked at various solutions. We looked at off-the-shelf products. We looked at Foundation's DFG Case Manager, and we tested it thoroughly. Our ICT colleagues, our district council colleagues and the OTs, and we thought it was brilliant. We really did. You know, for an end-to-end process, it was absolutely fantastic. But we all realised that because of our own existing systems that we had in place, we were going to have to double key information. We couldn't afford to pay for the widget, whatever it's called in ICT terms, that would interface with all of those different sort of case file systems that we were all using. Don't forget 7 district councils with 7 different systems going on there. So then we have Mosaic in Nottinghamshire as our case file system, and we went and talked to our colleagues in Lincolnshire. So they'd given their district councils the ability to read Mosaic, they'd given them access to that. So we talked to them about how that worked and how their performance reports worked. And then we came away thinking that that wasn't the way we wanted to go. We didn't want to give the districts access to Mosaic. And then I think good luck, good fortune fell at our feet, because the children's side of the service purchased the Mosaic portal, which is like a bolt-on application to the main Mosaic case system. And because our project affected children's and adults, because it's disabled facilities grant, we were able to tap into that. So basically, we've done some really agile work over the last couple of months. We've built a new Mosaic workflow that's separate to the OT assessment step, that has a performance report that sits behind it. And we are going to go live with that in September. So we're just testing it, doing the final tweaks. And we've co-produced that with the children's disability OTs and the adults OTs. And the Mosaic portal, the sort of ICT project, is in 3 phases. So we'll have the the internal OT assessment to recommendation to the district council is phase 1. Then when we get the portal and everybody's logged onto it, we will roll out the phase where the district council can access the portal, and that'll be January time. And then phase 3 will be that the customer can access the portal. And that will mean that the customer can progress chase their own work if they choose to, giving them choice and control over their DFG. And it has to be said, in Nottinghamshire, at the moment, some of the districts have a very hands-off approach to the project management element of the DFG. And so all of that project management work falls to the occupational therapist for those complex builds. So particularly with children's cases where people have preferred schemes, this kind of thing, it's just going to be brilliant having this portal where people can upload their plans or emails about decisions and so on and so forth. So really exciting work that I wanted to share with colleagues. I think there's people on the call from Cornwall. I think you have Mosaic in Cornwall, so you might be interested in talking to our ICT people to get the the technicalities of the work that we're doing. If I put my email in the chat, people can just ping me an email and I'll pass you on to the people that you need to talk to. And that's us in Nottinghamshire. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
Any questions?
Good to get an update of how things are going. But what have been the biggest challenges over the last few months to kind of get this in post or in place, rather? The challenge for me has been trying to get a project through during the pandemic, where my colleagues in the district council were redeployed to other roles, because they have like multi roles, don't they? They're environmental, health and housing and so on and so forth. So for me, I've had to be quite consistent on this project and remind people of the importance of it so it doesn't drift. So I'm really pleased that as we're moving into recovery that we're able to work in this kind of agile way to conclude things. Great. And it's always more difficult in a 2-tier situation, isn't it, to get
get things done. Are all 7 equally on board, or I think in most counties there's usually 1 or 2 that are a bit reluctant to get involved with the others?
Yeah, we tend to have a 4-3 split on any decision. They are all on board with this bit of the project. Yes, I think one of the difficult, the hardest pieces of work, I would say, was the county-wide adaptation policy and agreeing those discretionary. That's where you have the creativity to be innovative in your district with your discretionary money, and so each of the 7 districts had a different idea of what they want to spend that money on. We have managed to agree that everybody, each district will top up to £20,000, whereas there was varying amounts before. So that was quite an important milestone, and that adaptation policy is now with all their governance in each of the districts. They have to take things to their members. So in September, hopefully, we should start to reap the benefits from that.
Yeah, and I guess that'll make things much easier for your OTs if you've got a consistent policy right across the county.
Yeah, I mean, what we realised was we weren't all starting from the same place with those 7 districts. Some of them were further ahead than others, and the county-wide adaptation policy, it's almost like it's given us a starting line where everybody's in the same place on the starting line, and I think then we'll be able to go forward and be more innovative as a group and more consistent as a group. So yeah, important steps on the journey.
Yes, and I think that these things always take a while, and there's always refinements along the way, aren't there, to get to where you want to go. But knowing where you're going to, I think the big bit of the battle, isn't it? Great. I think there's I think Leeds said that's been kind of an approach they've been looking to explore, so they're excited to hear that you've kind of on the way to getting it cracked. And a couple of people asking if is the adaptations policy in the public arena now? I assume if it's going through kind of cabinets, it'll be on websites fairly soon.
I think that it will be around September time, but I'm happy to share the the version, if you like, if people email me.
Great.
I'll put my email in the chat when we're done.
Great. Well, thank you as ever, Kate. Thanks for joining us today, and it'd be good to hear how it develops, and
sure.
keeps in touch with progress.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.